Welcome to our Computer Architecture series. Today, we are going to demystify one of the most fundamental concepts in computing, the difference between an instruction set architecture, or ISA, and microarchitecture. These two terms are often used interchangeably by beginners, but they refer to completely different layers of your computer's design. To understand where we are, let's look at the computer as a stack of layers. At the very top, you have your software and applications. At the very bottom, you have the physical hardware, the logic gates, and electricity. We are focusing on the critical boundary right in the middle. The ISA is the interface that software talks to. The microarchitecture is the layer just below it, which actually implements that interface in hardware. So, what exactly is an ISA? Think of it as a contract or a legal document. It defines the vocabulary of the computer. It tells the programmer or the compiler exactly what the computer is capable of doing, like adding numbers, moving data, or jumping to different parts of memory. Crucially, it does not specify how these instructions are actually executed. It just promises that if you give the command, the result will be correct. You have likely heard of the most common architectures. x86 is the dominant language for desktop computers and servers, used by both Intel and AMD. ARM is the dominant language for mobile devices, used in your phone and increasingly in laptops like Apple MacBooks. RISC-V is a newer, open-source architecture that is gaining popularity in research and embedded systems. These are all different languages, or ISAs. Now, let's look under the hood at microarchitecture. This is also called computer organization. This is the actual implementation of that contract. It involves the specific engineering decisions made to build the processor. It includes things like how large the cache memory is, how many instructions can be processed at once, and how the pipeline is organized. One key part of microarchitecture is the pipeline. While the ISA says, execute this instruction, the microarchitecture breaks that down into efficient steps, fetching the instruction, decoding it, executing it, and storing the result. A smart microarchitecture can overlap these steps to run much faster, processing millions of instructions per second. Let's compare them side by side. The ISA is the vocabulary. It is visible to the programmer, and it stays the same for decades to ensure software keeps working. The microarchitecture is the engine. It is hidden from the programmer, and it changes frequently, often every year, as engineers find ways to make chips faster and more efficient. Here is the best way to remember it. Think of a car. The ISA is the user interface, the steering wheel and the pedals. If you know how to drive a Ford, you can drive a Toyota because the interface is the same. The microarchitecture is the engine under the hood. One might be a V8, the other might be electric. They work completely differently inside, but you drive them the same way. Why do we separate them? The answer is compatibility. This separation allows us to run old software on brand new computers. A program written for Windows 95 can still run on a modern Intel Core i9 because they speak the same x86 language, even though the modern chip is thousands of times more complex internally. This is why different companies can build chips that run the same software. Intel and AMD both make processors that understand x86. Intel's Golden Cove and AMD's Zen 4 are totally different microarchitectures, different internal designs, but they both speak the same language. This competition drives innovation while keeping your software working. To wrap up, remember these 4 points. The ISA is the interface or contract. The microarchitecture is the hardware implementation. Separating them allows hardware to evolve without breaking software. And finally, a single ISA can be built in many different ways by different manufacturers.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.